Anti-heal is useless, never buy it and just go for core items. Okay, nah, I'm not saying that it has no impact, and in some matchups it's just a must-have. But there is a huge problem and I know how to fix it. But first, subscribe. So what's the problem? In League there is only one effect that reduces healing, and it's Grievous Wounds. All anti-heal items and abilities apply this effect and it reduces healing only by 40%. Like, it's a limit, you can't reduce healing by more than 40%, but the healing itself doesn't have a limit. And yeah, I know, with more healing, anti-heal becomes more effective because it reduces more, because it's not a flat number, it's a percentage. But it's not enough. Healing just outscales anti-heal, and don't forget that there are many sources of healing but just one anti-heal. How many healing sources are there? Lifesteal, Omnivamp, heal from abilities, heal from runes, regeneration, also power of healing and shielding, which increases all that. So yeah, there are a lot of effects, and effects from different sources stack, but anti-heal doesn't. One effect that reduces healing, it's not enough. Lifesteal beasts have enough healing even if they get 60% from the original value of the heal. There is a lot of healing in League. It comes from different sources, it stacks, it can be buffed, but there's only one anti-heal effect. For example, Warwick gets a lot of lifesteal from abilities, he buys an item that gives him even more lifesteal, he can take a rune that will give him even more lifesteal and then buy this thing. He wouldn't give a about your anti-heal. Vladimir with couple of items gets too much healing even when there is an anti-heal effect on him. He still would heal too much. Yeah, and he can buy this thing, and on top of healing, he will have Omnivamp. And now just add Soraka or Nami, or other healer. How do you counter that? Oh, you are low skill. Pislo! You can just play better, focus Soraka and win. Video is not about that. So how a single anti-heal effect that reduces healing by just 40% is supposed to counter all that? 40% is not enough. There is too much healing and it stacks, and one anti-heal effect that can't be increased. If you still think that it's okay and there is no problem, then just look at the changes that Riot are making. First, removal of Revenue's Hunter, rework of the Immortal Shield Bow, and many smaller nerfs of the lifesteal. There is a problem, and anti-heal needs changes. Like even you, yes you, do you remember that one game against Wolf or Vlad? Did the 40% help? I mean, it didn't help me. Of course, if the lifesteal beast is not a Riot Games agent. Not only that you spend gold on anti-heal instead of core slots, which already gives enemy team an advantage because they have better stats, and situations happen when 3, 4 or even all 5 gamers buy anti-heal. I mean, yeah, support bot anti-heal, but do you trust him? Is he gonna apply anti-heal on the right target? Is he even gonna be in the fight? Because of the trust issues in solo queue, you get games when everyone on the team gets anti-heal and the enemy team gets a huge gold lead cause instead of stats everyone bought items that apply one effect. But I know how to fix this problem. So how Riot could fix anti-heal? As I said in the previous blog, 40% healing reduction is not enough. To solve the anti-heal problem, Riot should increase the maximum allowed amount of healing reduction from 40% to something bigger. My idea is adding a new source of anti-heal. Let's call it life suppression. It's gonna work just like Grievous Wounds, so reduce healing by 40%. The point of this effect is that it will stack with Grievous Wounds, so you can apply Grievous Wounds and life suppression on the same target, which allows to reduce healing by more than 40%, and then anti-heal will have a real impact. But then there is a new problem. If Grievous Wounds and life suppression would just add, we get 80% healing reduction, and it's too much and it will be difficult to make it balanced. At first I thought that this problem could be solved if we reduce the effect of Grievous Wounds and life suppression from 40% to 32%, which will give 64 final healing reduction, and it's a okay number. But then the individual impact of each effect will be too small and you need both effects to impactfully reduce healing. Like, it doesn't really solve the anti-heal problem. Then I came up with a perfect solution which will save the individual impact of each effect, and both effects together wouldn't give too much healing reduction. What if instead of adding with Grievous Wounds it would multiply by formula like this: bracket 1 minus bracket 1 minus A bracket times bracket 1 minus B bracket equals final reduction, where A is Grievous Wounds and B is life suppression. So not 40 plus 40% equals 80%. Nah, that's too much. It would be 40 times 40% equals 64%. So like this. I think it's the best solution, because each anti-heal effect still have individual impact, but together both effects don't give too much healing reduction. If effect like this existed, then anti-heal would be useful for real, and Dog and Bloodsucker would have a real counterplay. I will repeat what I said in the beginning of the video: anti-heal right now is not useless, and in some matchups like against Warwick it's must have, but I think it could give a little bit more impact. Okay, but how to implement this effect of life suppression to the league? I came up with 3 ways of adding it into the game. The first one, the most unrealistic and probably non-working: add new items with this effect of life suppression for all classes. So for example, right now mages have Morlenomicon, they would get a new item that applies life suppression, and make item like this for all classes. If items like this existed, then any champ support could buy both items, apply Grievous Wounds and life suppression at the same time, reducing healing by 64%. But this way of adding alternative anti-heal effect is unrealistic, because Riot will never add a new class of items, because it's a new mechanic, you gotta sit, develop something, but what's the point? People will buy skins anyways. Second way is more realistic and better working: make items of different classes apply different effects. ADCs got Mortal Reminder, they apply Grievous Wounds, and mages have Morlenomicon, but instead of Grievous Wounds it would apply life suppression. Yeah, it probably wouldn't help in 1v1s that much, but at least it will be easier to fight the healing beasts. It will be easier to crush the dog if you're playing with your team. Effect like this is much easier to add to the game, because Riot don't need to make anything new, but just replace the effect of Grievous Wounds with life suppression on, let's say, all AP items. Last way is the simplest but the least impactful one: replace effect of Grievous Wounds with life suppression on abilities. So Singed ult, Katarina's ult, Kled traps, Varus arrows instead of Grievous Wounds would apply life suppression. Yeah, it's not gonna change much, but in some rare cases it will be possible to reduce healing by more than 40%. In the perfect world, also add the effect of life suppression to abilities of some other champions like Morgana's W. And if I was a Riot game developer, I would mix second and third ways. Specifically, I would replace all Grievous Wounds effect with life suppression on all AP items and abilities, and leave the Grievous Wounds only on AD items and abilities. So instead of one anti-heal effect for everyone, there are now 2 AP and AD anti-heal, which stack. If similar division existed, then anti-heal would be much more impactful and lifesteal beasts wouldn't be that much of a problem. Now, if the division for AP and AD existed, 5 anti-heals in the team wouldn't be that problematic, and the game against lifesteal beasts in solo queue would be easier. But wait, why add a new effect when Riot can just nerf lifesteal and healing? You see, any mechanic can get just nerfed, but it's better to give a counterplay rather than just cutting out the mechanic, and that's what Division for EP and AD does. This Division for EP and AD anti-heal rewards you when you build the right items, and in general, it would make anti-heal much more deeper as a mechanic. And who knows, maybe this change will impact the minds of Riot Games agent and they would finally stop picking 5 AD or EP champs, not because 5 champs with same damage type will make game kinda difficult, but because they will think that they can't apply both anti-heal types. Yeah, it probably wouldn't happen, but who knows, less than 5% of their brain is explored. If all the changes that I proposed in this video will get added to the game, should the lifesteal and healing items get a compensatory buff? Probably yeah, or maybe no. I don't know, maybe the formula for AP and AD should look like this, or like this, or I don't know. In this video I just described the concept and all the numbers should be tested, but do you know what number I want? 1000 followers until the end of the month, so subscribe.